I never thought a single sheet of paper could change the course of my entire life. My name is Alex, I'm 37, and I run a modest construction company in Denver, Colorado. For as long as I can remember, I believed marriage was built on honesty, on tackling challenges as a team. That belief collapsed the day I learned who my wife, Laura, really was. The unraveling didn't come in one dramatic burst. It began quietly. Over months, I noticed subtle shifts in her behavior. She was distant, distracted, quick to snap over nothing, and far too protective of her phone. Late-night texts became routine, followed by excuses that didn't line up. At first, I told myself it was just work pressure, long hours, the usual ups and downs. But the knot in my stomach never loosened. Deep down, I knew something was wrong. The truth finally surfaced on an ordinary afternoon. I came home earlier than planned, intent on surprising her with takeout from her favorite spot. Instead, I walked into a scene I'll never forget. Laura curled up on the couch, laptop open, speaking in low tones on speakerphone. Something about her posture, her hushed voice, froze me where I stood. I stepped closer, and my eyes caught the screen. Emails. Receipts. Messages. My world stopped. Each line of text confirmed what I had feared most. She wasn't just being secretive, she was betraying me. I didn't storm in. I didn't shout. I stayed quiet, watching from the shadows, letting the reality cut deep enough to register fully. Inside me was a storm, anger, disbelief, devastation. But I refused to let it dictate my next move. If Laura thought she could shatter me with lies, she was wrong. That's when it struck me. I needed one thing, a single document that could strip away every mask she wore. That evening, I called my lawyer. He was calm, precise, a man who listened more than he spoke. I laid out everything I had seen, every doubt that had been gnawing at me for months. I asked him to put together one paper, concise, ironclad, impossible to dispute. Not just a stack of evidence, but a mirror of every deception she had spun. When the day of court came, Laura walked in as though she owned the floor. Designer outfit, head held high, a top-tier attorney beside her. She smirked in my direction, certain that charm and legal muscle would carry her through. I said nothing, letting her bask in that illusion. Then my lawyer slid the paper across the polished table. The transformation was immediate. Her attorney, who had radiated smug confidence, went rigid. His eyes scanned the document once, twice, then his jaw tightened as though the words were choking him. Silence spread across the room, heavy and undeniable. For the first time, Laura's posture faltered. The shift in power was palpable. She tried to speak, to twist the narrative, but her lawyer remained frozen, unable to weave a defense around something so complete. Every secret she thought she had buried was now neatly laid out on that single sheet. I didn't gloat. I didn't raise my voice. I simply watched as the mask cracked and her composure crumbled. The hearings dragged on for weeks, but the balance never tilted back. My attorney and I handled every step with precision: custody, property, finances. Laura's attempts to argue were shadows of her former confidence, easily brushed aside by evidence she could not erase. By the final court date, she was subdued, her fire gone. Her lawyer barely managed to maintain formality. When the judge signed off on the settlement, one that protected me, my business, and the life I had worked for, I felt no triumph, only clarity. Her betrayal had already cost her far more than I could ever take. That single document had done what anger never could. It dismantled her manipulations and restored my dignity. That night, alone in my apartment, I sat with the silence. Betrayal hurts in ways words can't capture. But it also reveals truths we might never otherwise learn, about patience, about control, about the strength that comes from strategy instead of rage. I had turned a moment that could have broken me into a testament of resilience. Laura had believed she could script my downfall. Instead, she exposed her own. And as I looked back on it all, the smug confidence in her eyes the day we entered the courtroom, the shock etched across her lawyer's face, the silence that followed when truth could no longer be dodged, I understood something profound. Power isn't begged for. It isn't handed out. It's claimed, carefully, deliberately, in the quiet patience of preparation. And once you've claimed it, no one can strip it from you. Would you like me to take this further into a multi-chapter arc, showing Laura's decline outside the courtroom and Alex's life rebuilding. Or keep it tightly focused as one dramatic script.